Factoring means that we would have like those two binomials. Something times something equals 0. And then after we do that, we broke it apart using that zero product property. We said something equals 0, whatever that first one was, and equals 0. And then we solved each of those. So that's kind of our goal here with this solving by factoring, is we're going to repeat those same steps as we did yesterday. It'll be a little bit different. We have one little step that you'll see really soon what is different. Okay, like I said, we only have one example that we're doing today together, and then you'll have the rest of the time to work through your quick check. Tomorrow we'll have a longer practice. Get some time to get through that. Test is going to be next Friday. We have 2 more lessons in this chapter. We'll do H6 and H7 at the beginning of next week. We'll take a time for a review and a one-pager, and then a test Friday. All right, so today our problem, we have 7n squared plus 42n plus 11 equals negative 8n plus 4. Alright, so what is different about this compared to what we did yesterday and the process that we laid out up here? Yeah, there's no 0. That's a really important part when we factor, is that we need that 0 because we need to use that product property where we can split it up into zeros. If it equals negative 8n plus 4, we don't know what those two parts need to be to make negative 8n plus 4. So our first step here is going to be to solve for 0. And that is really the only difference between today and yesterday. So we're going to start by doing that step, and then once we solve for 0, it's the same as yesterday. Easy peasy. Okay, so I'm going to draw that line down the equal sign. I want to get 0 on this right side. I want all of these things to be gone. Which one do you want to get rid of first, the negative 8n or the 4?
Yeah, 4.
The 4?
Yeah.
Okay, would we get rid of adding 4?
Negative.
Minus 4. Where will I do that over here? Should I do it to the 7, the 42, or the 11? Why the 11? Yeah, they're like terms, they're constants, so they go together. So nothing's changing for these first two. The 7n squared and 42n are staying together. So 7n are staying the same. Plus 42n. Plus, what's 11 minus 4? I don't have my calculator on me. 7 equals, now the 4's are gone. What do I still have left over here, though? Negative 8n. I haven't gotten rid of that yet. It's still hanging out there. Remember, my goal is to get it so it equals 0. So I'm not done yet. I need to get that negative 8n. I want to get rid of that. It's gross. Yeah. So how do we close? That would be if we wanted the n on this side. We want to get this side empty. So how would I get rid of this negative 8n? Yep, add 8n. And Kamar said right away we do it to the 42. What says we do it to the 42? Yeah, they both have just the n. They're like terms. So nothing's changing to our 7n squared. What is 42 plus 8? 50 n. Okay.
We still have on that side the 7. Carry that down plus 7. And what's left on the right side? 0. Yeah, we have nothing over there, so we can put a 0.
Now at this point, we're going to factor it just like we did yesterday, just like we did on our warm-up, just like we did last unit. What is our A? 7. Our B? 50. And our C? 7. You want to use colors at this point? You can. Some of you might be feeling really confident in your factoring skills where you don't need to color anymore. It's your choice.
Some of you might just think colors are pretty.
Colors are not pretty. I'm just kidding. Colors are pretty. Miss Sorter just loves colors, you guys. All right, so what am I going to start with when we factor? A times our C. And what is our A? 7 times our C. And what is our C? 7. So 7 times 7 is 49. So we're going to look for two numbers.
How do we know which one's A and B and C?
Good question. Can somebody explain that? How do we know which one is A, B, and C?
They don't know.
Good. The one with nothing is C. That's our constant. The thing with the squared, n squared or x squared or g squared is our A. And the one with just the variable, the n or the c or the A, is our B. Okay? So we do our A times our C is 49. We have to now write an adding equation. And what do we want it to add up to? Our B. And what is our B? 50. B is 50, right? Yeah. So this is where you want your blue sheet. Where on the blue sheet will we look?
49.
We're going to look at the multiplication problem first because this is all multiplying problems. So we're going to look at the 49. But then in our head, we're going to switch those multiplying signs in the 49 to adding signs. Which pair would add to 50? 1 plus 49 or 7 plus 7? 1 and 49. Right, now we can go to that area model. At this point, you guys are really good at drawing those boxes, crushing it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this part. All right, what goes in my first box? The A, 7n squared. And in my last box, C, which is 7. Now our B, the 50n, we split into two parts. What two parts? How do we break 50 up? Into what and what? 49 and 1. But what needs to go with that 49 and that 1? N. Good, because that B was originally 50n. Awesome. Now we're going to just factor, so we use that blue sheet. Do you want to do 7 and 49, 7 and 1, 1 and 7, or 49 and 7? 49 and 7? Okay, so if we look at 49 and 7 on our blue sheet, 49 is here, 7 is way up here. What do they both have? They both have a 1, and they both have a 7. We want the biggest number, so we're going to take out the 7. Do these both have an n?
No.
No. I have a 49n and a 7. So no n, just the 7. Okay, now we can either continue to factor or we can think of multiplication. So for 49, 49 was 7 times what? 7. So over here we're going to put a 7. And we need an n. So that n has to go in front. Alright, now for that red 7 down here. 7 times what? It gives me that red 7. 1. Do I need an n for that 7? No, because it's just 7. Alright, and then again we can think multiplying. We can think 7 times what is 7n squared? 1. Why do we need an n there?
Because it's an n.
Yeah, either you can look at this one, it's an n squared, or it sounds like Kamar looked at this one n below. We needed a 1 times a 1n to make 1n. Yep. Alright. Now we get to write our binomials. Oh boy. Longest problem we'll do all year. Crazy. What goes in our first binomial? 7n and what? Yep, 7n and 1. These ones together in the front. And then this 1n and 7. It's all positive. I'm going to just write it as n plus 7. If you want to, you can write it as 1n plus 7. That's okay. Now, last unit, that's where we would stop. We'd be like, yep, good job. Pat yourself on the back. Amazing. Which is amazing still. But we have more to do. What do we have to do that's more? It has to equal what? 0, and then we have to solve. And this solving step really isn't that bad. It's just an extra step. So we're going to solve so that either this first one, 7n plus 1, I'm going to use the same highlighters I did yesterday. So 7n plus 1 equals 0. Or, what's my other option? 1n plus 7 equals 0. And the goal was to solve. So when we see that direction solve, what does our answer need to look like? N equals, that's the goal. So, to draw that line down the equal sign, and we need to get n by itself in both of these equations. So here, should I get rid of the 7 first or the 1? The 1. 7 is the best friend, they're coefficients. So how would we get rid of an adding 1? Negative 1 or minus 1? So 7n equals, what's 0 minus 1? Negative 1. Somebody's got their music on real loud. And then how do we get rid of that 7 in front of that n? Divide. Good. When they're touching, that means multiply. And to undo multiply, we divide. Can we do negative 1 divided by 7? Nope. So we just leave it a fraction. Negative 1 over 7. So that's one answer. What's our other answer going to be? What? How'd you know it so fast? Did you work ahead? Or did you just know it in your head? You worked ahead? Alright, we have n plus 7. And how would I get rid of that plus 7? Negative 7 minus 7. And 0 minus 7 is negative 7. Good. So if you want to write your answers really nice so that they look beautiful, you can do n equals negative 1/7 or n equals negative 7. And that is our answer for that whole problem. Insane. Okay, so you have quite a bit of time to do your quick check today, about 20 minutes still. It's going to be 2 problems. Some of this work, before you start your quick check, just listen real quick. Some of this work, like this beginning work, you might have to do on a whiteboard where you solve for 0. And then some of this ending work where you finish those equations you might need to do on a whiteboard. Okay? So in that quick check, it's not all going to be